G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Himiyama to watch two top players go head to head. Currently ranked inside the top 5. Louis MT on the Chinese, playing in the color pink today for us in this east corner. Looks to face an opponent just sitting outside the top 20. Kiljadi in the orange on the Mongols. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Himiyama. It's a pleasure to be back on this map. I don't know about you guys, but I was speaking to Fitzbro and he said, I don't know, man, it just feels like Himiyama is the new Altai. You guys remember the good old days where you'd play Altai and it would just be like, oh, you're playing Altai again. And then you would queue and then it's Altai. And then you'd ban Altai and it was still Altai. It just kept coming back. And look, if you're like me and you don't enjoy getting the same map over and over again, well, make sure you hit that like button because we're friends. We're friends. And if you do like getting the same map, to be fair, if you could get Dry Arabia over and over and over again, I would just queue into that. But to be honest, I think the devs have done a really good job and they probably need credit where credit is due. Back in the good old day, all I wanted to do was play Dry Arabia. I didn't want to get those terrible Lipany spawns. I didn't want to play on Altai with the bad spawns that it had. Boulder Bay, let's not talk about Boulder Bay. But I tell you what, I just wanted to play Dry Arabia every single game. The devs have done a great job of making me realize that, hold on, I don't have to play Dry Arabia every single game. I'm not mad if I get Himiyama. Even though it's not Dry Arabia, it's still a fun map. I still enjoy it. Now, granted, I haven't played Forts yet. I will address something. I did see a Reddit post, and the Reddit post said, you know, Drongo initially hated this map, but now all of a sudden he's come around. And I will just say, well, yeah, look, you can judge something on its merits initially, but as more evidence comes in, it's important that you don't stick or anchor to your initial things, which is a bias. All of us have that. It's called cognitive anchoring. But we want to make sure that we think about this right here was not optimal play for the Imperial official. Can I just point that out? Yeah, it's important that we're reassessing, and I can definitely say after reassessing that Forts, from a casting perspective, is definitely it's a fun map. I feel sorry for you guys having to play it. Now, what's going on over here for Louis MT? Have a look at this. He's moved the sheep back to the town center, and naturally you might be thinking, what the hell's that all about? I suspect this is because he knows that spears are on the way, so naturally he's going to be bringing this mill back. This is part of the reason why I love dropping that mill down next to the town center rather than throwing it down over on the berries, because it means if an outpost does come down right here, that was close. I was about a tile off. If an outpost does come down right there, it means that you're not going to be losing them. And you can see Louis now. Louis, I'm issuing a citation right here. I'm sorry. I can't believe that we are witnessing a top-level player, top 5 player, by the way, farming sheep this far from his town center. This is highly, highly illegal. Not on the mill, yet on the town center, and still so far away from the town center. It needs to be significantly closer. Look at the walk distance you've got. It's absolutely wild to me that has happened. I don't know whether it was a mistake. Maybe Louis, maybe Mum's in Louis' room at the moment, like, Louis, you didn't clean the dishes. And Louis like, Mum, I'm in game. I'll clean them after the game. And she said, Louis, that's what you said after the last bloody game. Get out here. And he's like, all right, fine, I'll come out. And then he's like, just left the sheep right here under the town center. And then the villagers have just defaulted back to here. Meanwhile, he's put a couple villagers in queue and he's just like, all right, that'll hold on for a little bit right there. And he's rushed back. He's done like 2 plates and he's rushed back to the game. And he's like, oh shit, I had an idle TC. And fortunately manages to get it all back together before the villagers die to the impending doom of the Mongol outpost. Anyway, I hope you guys like my story. Oddly specific. There's a reason why. I've been talking about my family a little bit here lately. I'll give you a story about my mum. This is one of my favorite stories, is the spears do manage to hit. Look at that, beautiful deleting. So by deleting the mining camp right here before any attacks come through to it, it means that no bounty will be awarded to the Mongol player. But he is slowly losing resources. Have a look at this. He's lost the berries, lost the wood. Now he's going to lose the gold and the secondary stone. Still has wood line on the south and stone. So I expect to see a second TC. All right, let me tell the story about my mum. My mum was an absolute, if you've heard of like parenting styles, she was authoritarian, right? Like it was just like, it was her way or the highway. She laid down the law. I think I've told you guys the time that she broke the wooden spoon, smacking me in the butt. But I remember when, even after I was like old, it still happened. We've got to be careful there, little scout. Barbican will be coming up just on time. Have a look at this with one villager. So anyway, I was, get this right. So I was 21. I just celebrated my 21st 21st birthday after I'd been on deployment with the Australian government for about 3 months. And I'd come back and I was jet lagged because I was deployed over on the west side of Australia, over on one of the islands that we've got. It's about 4 hours behind the rest of where I'm from. And so I'm jet lagged, and to me it feels like about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening. So I said, all right, I'm going to cook myself up a steak. So I get the steak out, I get the pan out, and I put the oil in the pan, steak's getting ready. And my mum comes out and she says to me, Drongo, what are you doing? I said, I'm cooking a steak. And she goes, no, you're not. It's 11 o'clock. And I say, Mum, I'm jet lagged and I'm really hungry. And she said, it's 11 o'clock. It's too late to be cooking steak. You're going to stink up my whole damn house. And I said, but Mum, I'm really hungry. And she said, I don't care. You're not cooking steak. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I tell you what, and I just remember telling her, I'm going to move out. You have just... I'm done. I'm done. And that was it. That was the moment I realized, you know, I can't live with Mum anymore. I can't cook my steaks at 11 o'clock at night. You know, what is the world coming to? That sort of thing. But anyway, when I eventually returned to my hometown, I kept my word, and within like a week I was gone. I mean, I kept doing deployments, and I'd come back and I'd chill with her. But you know, no 10 o'clock steaks, unfortunately, or 11 o'clock steaks. I did actually go out to McDonald's and just like bought. I think you know when you rage buy something, when you're like, you know what, damn you, I'm gonna buy a double quarter pounder and I'm gonna get a large steak shake as well. That's what I did. Anyway, there you go, 6 minutes into the game. All right, Drongo, let's focus on the game. Okay, sorry. Song Dynasty coming through, second TC on the way. Archery range is already up here. He's now got access to that Zhukunu. Keep in mind, he is playing the Chinese and not the Zhu Si Legacy, which means he did have to go for that Song Dynasty to actually get the Zhukunu out, but I'm a little bit worried about his position here. He's lost a fair bit of food. That's a fair bit out there. He's lost access to gold as well. When it comes to secondary gold, he's got this one on the backside. And realistically, from Kiljardi's perspective, he doesn't have... I mean, he's done well. He's taken the middle. He's going to have trade coming through shortly. And keep in mind, this map it's not the best for trade. You don't really have that many optimal positions. But look at this second TC spot coming down here right now for Louis MT. Not something I expected to see from him, but I think this does make sense, right? When you think about it from his perspective, okay, what's happened? Well, he's lost food. He's lost one of his main income sources in the early game. He's done the right thing in bringing back this mill next to the town center, which is just something that I just love to do full stop. But now all of a sudden he's realized, well, because I don't have those berries anymore, I'm going to need that food source eventually. So what does he do? He goes out to not only the deer, but he's got a boar nearby, which he will be leashing by the looks of it. The sooner you can leash it, the better, because it means that your enemy's not going to be able to play around too much, and you see immediately running towards the villagers. Ideally, you want it to kill a little bit closer. Villager might go down here. You can see he's got the long range. Nope. All right. The huntable boar unfortunately does go down before he's able to take a villager with him. I'd love to see a mill thrown down right here and the Imperial official brought out, and I think that's exactly what we're going to be seeing. If we don't see it in the next minute or two, I'm going to be pretty upset, because that's exactly what you should be doing. Louis MT now putting down that silver tree in the corner. Does have the wolf to keep him company, so we ain't going to be watching from his perspective. Did I say Louis MT? I meant Kiljardi. Kiljardi over here. Going to be doing that. Could look to trade down towards the south. A little bit dangerous, if I do say. You're going to be doing that. Topside's not as effective, and especially because it's behind this wood line, you're going to have inefficient traders. So that's also something to consider, whereas this one's a little bit more optimal, because, you know, as the crow flies, it's pretty much identical. But a lot of villagers on gold. Have a look at this. Not a whole lot of villagers anywhere else. I do say that, but he's sitting on 34 villas, which is actually pretty deep in the economic stages of things. Scout manages to pick up a sheep, running his way through. Down in the middle, or rather a light junk in the middle. Will deny the outpost, so he says no soup for you, unfortunately, as he was quite hungry. Outpost now looking for the upgrades, and I'm liking this position of Louis. This is a smart play. My main concern, though, is that he is going to be absolutely overwhelmed by Keshiks. Now, of course, you've got access to the Keshiks in the feudal age here, not as strong until you reach that castle age. That's when things really start to kick in for the Keshiks, because you're talking about the veterancy, you talk about +2 ranged armor as well. Against the hand cannoneers, or the hand cannons of the town center, it doesn't really make much of a difference, but when you're diving second town centers like this, it can make a huge difference. And I'm curious what kind of response we see from Kiljardi here, because as far as I'm aware, I don't know how much he knows about this base. I would suspect he probably does, because he's a good player, and he definitely knows about it now, as that light junk has spotted that second town center. But how does he react to this? Because I've seen players like, I think, Puppy Paw, who just reacts to a second TC by just trade booming. The problem is this is not an ordinary trade boom, or this is not, I should say, this is not an ordinary second TC boom. This is a Song Dynasty TC boom, which is equivalent to 2.66 town centers, so slightly more than your 2 standard town centers, which is what would normally be happening. Numbers are going to start to build up now in the feudal age, though, for Louis. He's decided, you know what? We might need to commit to a couple of units here, look to try and keep our villages on gold safe, but the number of villages that are on gold here almost to me indicate that, hey, I'm not actually planning to spend that long in the feudal age. Eco upgrades coming through now. Wheelbarrow for both of these players. Already online for Killjadi, but will shortly be online here for Louis. And now, we watch as on the backside. We'll try and snipe a villager or two here. There are plenty of units. Killjadi spots them. Khan is going to give the alert off a little bit before. He manages to get one of the villagers. Second villager escapes on 1 health. You love to see it. But that is the consequence of bringing the Khan to the party and not telling him to sit back and enjoy the view. Unfortunately, he sends that attack alert a little bit early because he gets off that ranged attack when you're back over here and your Khans are still heading out. So it gives you a little bit more time to react to those charging Keshiks. But we'll check in with Louis and see how he's doing as the villager count is starting to build for him. He's up 8 villagers in this game. Keep in mind that on top of that, he does... You got to be careful right there, my friend. A little bit of a sprint. Not going to find it once again as the spears and Jukunu do manage to bring it up on time. He could actually look to get a wall across here. I think that might be a wise idea. Even just, you know, it's what, 35 wood, 42 wood, something like that. It's not a lot of wood, and it would definitely seal the deal over on that east side. But I want to compliment Louis because the tower rush has happened and he's just laughed at it and he's just said, what tower rush? You know, when it comes to dealing with a tower rush as the Chinese, there's a number of different ways that you can deal with it. And one of those ways is you can ignore it. And that's exactly what he's done. But one of the more common ways that we see is the Chinese playing in a Dark Age. They'll go Dark Age, they'll go into spears, and then they'll look to put pressure on the Mongol player by either hitting their Uvu or hitting their gold, whichever one is open. Because normally there's only one accessible. The other one's normally protected by the town center. Not in this case, but normally that's what happens. So you pressure the other one. But that wasn't the case here. Louis just kind of pivoted towards that second town center without too much of an issue. Threw down the Barbican only with the 1 villager, knew that he was perfectly safe. Now those numbers are going to start to build. Is he going to be looking to clear out the outpost? It doesn't look like it. Instead, going to be rallying over towards trade, I suspect. Is that going to be the case? He's definitely heading top side. And he does know that there are traders out. Remember, we did see that scout earlier ducking around this top side. I suspect it probably worked it all out. But have a look at this. Archer numbers are starting to build here. He's up to 17 archers at the moment, which is a pretty damn decent amount. Enough gold, almost enough gold in the bank here to age. Louis going to be trying to age up before his opponent is. I don't think he expected this many feudal age units coming out. Normally what we do see from Mongol players like this is a very quick castle age following up. But not going to be the case today. And that Imperial Official getting caught in the crossfire. Don't do it, Imperial Official. I know you love to, but he's gone down, the poor thing. But guess what? Good news is you can now buy a reduced or purchase or train a reduced cost Imperial Official because of the recent change. It's going to cost you slightly less, an extra 45 resources less than what you normally would. Now it's just going to be left to the Jukunu to slowly but steadily clean up this mess. No ranged armor for the Keshiks, but there is ranged attack for the Jukunu, so they will do pretty effectively against them, cleaning up and plenty of Jukunu left over. But that's going to leave a great little spot here for Louis to click that age up button. Where does it go down? In fact, where is it going down? Did he spend all of his resources on units instead of clicking the age up? He literally had I remember seeing 1,100 resources. Well, like 1,100 food in the bank. Wow, he really went through all those resources, but he now moves down towards the south side. There's lots of berries to be had down here. I love the way he's stacking up their villages. These guys aren't even going to be able to gather up enough berries. How many have you got here? 16 vills on this? Surely they won't actually get a hand in off this. Well, they're going to. Jeez, look how quickly that's going to skyrocket up. He was starving over there. But speaking of starving, have a look at this. No villagers left to defend the town center. Perfectly timed here. I guess they're only a little bit of a walk away, but still, it's much nicer to have them on standby, ready to go. But the numbers now are building here for Louis on the defense. Keep in mind the Jukunu are particularly potent against the battering rams now. With the reduced amount of health the battering rams have got, it means that it takes less shots to actually kill the battering rams from that Chinese perspective. But remember that the battering rams are also cheaper, which means that technically you can have more of them. Jukunu still getting great trades in. Ranged armor is finally through here. Battering ram's going to start working the magic on the backside. Spearman numbers pretty low here. He's about to drop down into single digits, but still able to do a decent job defending. The town center most likely will be going down unless the villagers get pulled, and indeed they do. He's going to pull 20 villagers from that east side. At the same time, still under attack over on that eastern part of his base. Town center getting repaired by everybody. 7 vills jump inside. He's still going to need to throw a couple torches here. Third battering ram also in play. Keep that in mind, but the town center is staying alive for the moment. Spears meeting at the front line. Beautiful control coming through from Louis, leaving the spears until the end. Often we'll see players throw those spears away a little bit early, but it does not happen here. He keeps them alive, and look at this. Even though the fight's still going on, the spears he brings them back because he knows those Keshiks are only a second or two away. Very, very well played, and Louis now going to be able to siege down those battering rams. It feels a little bit late, these battering rams. You know, normally one of the things that you will see are players look to try and go for that one base timing, whereas Kiljadi's going for a one base timing. It's just that he's also been trading at the same time. He's up to 12 traders now, and normally the strength of this build order is not with their one base timing, but rather their castle age timing, as long as you keep hitting your opponent with Keshiks. That's the one key factor. You want to just be raiding, trying to keep the enemy down. It's not going to be the case today, as Louis really pushes out. He's quite happy with himself, really. Only losing 3 workers so far this game. He's done a great job of making sure that he keeps a decent economic lead going. And have a look at this. After a while, this village is now on fire, which means the bounty bonus has come through. Spear's now actually going to be looking to take down the battering ram. You can see they're not throwing torches. They're just doing their stabby stab, but with no melee armor, means these spears are actually just going to eat through that battering ram. And unfortunately, the battering ram, I mean, he managed to get the outpost burning, and that's all that really matters, because now it's just a matter of time until it goes down. But speaking of going down, that's the village going down. Does Louis actually get population block from that? He does. Have a look at that. It's 115 of 110. You hate to see it. He did throw down a village, but realizes it's a little bit too close to the granary, and as a result, cancels it. Single relic back here as well, blocking out a farm. And now, 2 more hits, and he'll have this into burning down, or into burning territory. Looks like he's going to get it off. Kiljadi not paying attention because, well, there's units in the back of his base, and now it is burning down. That's all he needs to worry about. Expect those spearmen to be able to take it out afterwards, but now, keep in mind behind this, Louis still yet to click up to the castle age, so still happy to fight it out a little bit longer in the feudal age. Plenty of units here for him, but keep in mind those reinforcements for Kiljadi now. Going to be really, really coming in thick and fast. There they are, the double production for the Mongols. Plenty of archers on the backside. He really needs to worry about the Zhukannu, less about the spears. It feels like you're probably not going to be able to achieve too much by taking out those spears here because there's just a distinct lack of cavalry. Spears continue trying to come forward, and you can see just how much those Zhukannu are melting. But more and more units continue to come through for Kiljadi. It should be enough to keep him afloat here. The trade uninterrupted, still 18 traders on the map at the moment. Maintains decent control of the middle. Spears now going to be coming back, has shut down that front attack. And the Zhukannu do stand strong and look to continue to interrupt this little bit of economy on the backside. Only 2 spears here, but remember, there are plenty more on the way. Are there? Oh, actually, Drongo, those spears that you saw earlier, they weren't his spears. They were Kiljadi's spears. So while there's plenty more spears on the... There are plenty more spears on the way, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at that. I feel like that's a lot of units. So he's going to look to target the north side of the map, which is definitely a good call. But have a look at this. The Zhukannu are going to be breaking through. One trader will definitely go down here. Second one manages to make their way through. But a little bit of a cleanup with the Keshiks. Finally going to be able to make it, and I reckon he should be A-okay. The one thing that scares me right now is you're fighting up against an uncontested Chinese economy. Normally when you're playing up against the Chinese, you can try and match them with, say, 2TC against 2TC. But unless you actually attempt to do damage, to do harm upon their villages, on their economy, you're going to be outboomed. And I can only feel that's what's happening right now at this stage. Kiljadi, his window for Castle Age was probably about, I want to say about 9 minutes ago. And he stayed in feudal for a long time, which is definitely not where his strength lies. His strength lies with those big masses of archers. Once he's got +2 ranged attack, once he's got his Kurultai out, once he's got his +2 ranged armor veterancy for his units, he's going to be feeling really good about himself. And the longer that he delays that, the worse that it gets. And now, on top of that, his opponent actually ages up to the castle age before him. So the clock tower has gone down. One of the best landmarks in the game at the moment is this clock tower, just simply because it provides you the nest of bees, which is arguably the best mangonel type unit that there is, and it also gives an extra 50% health on top of it. You don't have to pay anything extra. The only caveat is you've only got one of them, so you can only make one nest of bees at a time. It's a slow and steady process, but if you can invest, I promise you, the returns will be wonderful. All right, let's check in and see how Louis's doing as that economy is absolutely booming. 105 villagers at the 20-minute mark. He's lost 5, so he's definitely doing pretty well, despite losing out those villagers. Khan up here to the north. Expect to see Castle Age pretty quickly here from Kiljadi, but definitely in this matchup, it feels bad if you're not the first one up as the Mongols. Mainly because the Mongols have agency in this matchup, so it should be you leading the way. If the Chinese player has found space to go to Castle Age, I feel like it means that you haven't really been doing your job as the Mongols. All right, let's check in on this farming economy. It's really starting to boom. You have to pick up fertilization, but the palace guards are coming out. One of the things I'd love to see from Louis in this position is just a whole bunch of palace guards just to deal with this imminent threat, and then just go Imperial straight away. And then once you're in Imperial, you've just got access to your elite palace guards, which would be obviously amazing, but battle hardened is the key there. A whole bunch of extra health on top. And then, I mean, Yuan Dynasty, you can kind of go for Yuan Dynasty, but the main go-to is those elite palace guards. They are really what set it apart. Sprinkled in placement, going to be coming through now for Louis. He's trying his best to defend this position, but realizes, you know what? Kiljadi, maybe it's just best I wait. Definitely a good idea, Kiljadi. You got a lot of attack upgrades about to come through. You've got +2 ranged attack about to come through. Veterancy, which is going to take you up to 9 attack. And then you're going to get an additional, what is it, 20% attack on top of that from the Kurultai? Indeed it is. So you're missing out on, what, about 4, 5 damage, potentially, for each archer by not going to Castle Age or waiting this long. Fortunately, all the upgrades are coming through. We're seeing veterancy getting picked up on the archers, veterancy on the Keshiks. We also have the Step Lancers coming through for those Keshiks. So a little bit of extra healing, +2 ranged armor going to be on the way as well. So it does the right thing. Looks to go into all of these upgrades immediately. Would have loved to have seen that second blacksmith thrown down from him just to pick up a second upgrade at the same time, because it is really key to get those upgrades in as soon as you possibly can as the Mongols, because now you're under immense pressure. And now there is plenty of space that is being found here by Louis MT, and it feels just like Louis MT's game to win at this stage, or almost like his game to lose at this stage, because it feels like he's quite far ahead. Military numbers in his favor. Kiljadi continuing to boost more and more archers out. There's the veterancy coming through. All of the Mongol traders now going to be forced back away. He could look to trade to the south side, except there is a wall that is going to be preventing that. In the middle of the map, more and more units continue to get struck by that light junk. It's just chilling out, just buying a little bit of space, but there are ways through this. Of course, he could just look for a gate here, maybe even wall this off so his units stop running through. Wallalo, never mind. It's just one of those Wallalos. It's a beastie Wallalo. Fair enough, beastie. It's not really beastie, though. It's Louis. I'll tell you that much. He's got 3 relics in the bag. I did see for a brief second he had 4 relics in the bag. There's that 4th relic coming through. I don't know where the 5th one is. I can't see it on the map right now, but maybe... Has he thrown it? No, he's in Song Dynasty. He couldn't have thrown it into a pagoda just yet. Have a look at this. Palace Guard raids are beginning to come. And I tell you what, against the Mongols, Palace Guard raids just have complete immunity. There is nothing that can stop them. No walls. I mean, maybe an outpost or two, but the Palace Guards don't care. They just run past. They've got their ultimate movement speed. +2 range attack finally coming through for Kiljadi. A little bit late, but hey, better late than never. Let's compare the pair. Let's see where the economies are at. Might be a little bit skewed because I think Kiljadi's just done a big hand in. He's got 46 gold a minute, though. Let's have a look and see, though. So you're talking about, what, 3,538, about 4,000 resources a minute compared over to the Chinese side, where you're looking at quite a bit more, about 5,000 resources a minute coming through for Louis. So definitely a decent-sized advantage, and it looks like he will be going Imperial Age. So definitely the right call here. The sooner you get to Imperial Age, the sooner we're going to be talking about elite Palace Guards. And then they're just going to trade so much more effectively with your enemy. And, of course, just going to be so much more unstoppable because they've got that extra health pool on the defensive or on the offensive when your opponent's trying to defend. Walls are completely coming up now, and a little bit of stone walls. You know what it's going to be, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for the nest of bees on top. That's what I'm excited about. 4 relics back here, safe now for Louis MT. That 5th relic, I don't actually know where that 5th relic went. Am I blind? You know what? I'm not the only one who's blind. The 5th relic is exactly where we left it at the beginning of the game. But does Louis realize? He might not realize because it's kind of hard. I mean, you can see it now because the villagers aren't there. But when the villagers are all on top of it, it's really hard. And have a look at this. Really, he's shutting down the economy on this north side. This needs to be addressed immediately. Speaking of addressing, 60 military population right now for Kiljadi, 17 for Louis MT. But you will witness the power of the Palace Guard. It is about to happen, ladies and gentlemen. He's got 7 in queue, 8 on the field at the moment. Might not seem like a lot, but remember this unit, once it gets its upgrades through, you could also look for elite army tactics, could look for +3 ranged armor, which is going to help him out a huge amount. Stonewall Gatehouse, villagers bugging out like crazy. He's idled out a whole bunch of his villagers there for no real reason. It was only these ones that were actually building the landmark, the 8 workers that were down there tapping. He does manage to pick up that 5th and final relic as well. So all 5 relics now going in favor of Louis MT on the defense here. Now that Imperial Age is online, Elite Palace Guards is coming through. He's dropped down a whole bunch of barracks here as well. Have a look at the number difference though. 19 Palace Guards, 20 Palace Guards against 73 military. Where's that Kurultai though? I need to see that Kurultai brought up, please, Kiljadi. And ideally a couple of sprinkled in placement outposts would be really nice. Ideally, if we could even get like a mango or 2, that would also complement this very, very well. And just mainly moving in the crossbows, which is what he's doing. He's up to 33 crossbows. But one of the risks that we run, as you guys will know, there is the crossbow paradox, which is where crossbows in low numbers are very good against palace guards and men-at-arms. But naturally, as more and more crossbows begin to build, and more palace guards or men-at-arms begin to build, there are diminishing returns on the strength of those crossbows because you have to start microing them, and there's so many that just start chasing you, the palace guards or the men-at-arms, that what's going to happen is you run out of room. You run out of room, and then all of a sudden, you've got no room left. And then the crossbows lose to the palace guards. That's how it goes. Let's have a look and see whether that actually comes to fruition here. Elite Palace Guard, with its battle-hardened upgrade, is on the way through. Elite Army Tactics as well. He's going for the full upgrades. +2 is through so far. Could be looking for a +3 as well, but now the Palace Guard army is on the move. The most powerful late game unit that there is when it comes to raiding. Even I would argue stronger than the Fire Lancer, just simply because it is just such a better unit when it comes to fighting mono versus anything realistically. Palace Guards in the north, Palace Guards in the south. Now going to get cleaned up. Plenty of Keshiks here. Remember, they've got that improved healing coming through right now from the battle veterancy. More Palace Guards to the top side. A little bit of a breakthrough. It's going to be a couple of Keshiks. They get cleaned up by the Palace Guards. Not even close. And now those crossbows. He's got 20 of them on this top side. Nice little cleanup from the Mongols. He spotted him out on the top. The White Stupa will go down. He's thrown it down in the base. Plenty of pastures here. Might be looking to move those pastures around just so he's got a little bit more speed when it comes to that production. I think that's exactly what's going to be happening here. Indeed he is. And now that raid on the south side gets completely shut down. The Great Wall Gatehouse, of course, the #1. And have a look at this. Military population still in favor of Kiljadi. But the one thing that worries me is we have already seen that Kiljadi, he's a little bit behind the pace when it comes to age ups. I'm fearful right now. He's not going to get the elite upgrade for his crossbows in time, which means lower damage. On top of that, the Kurultai hasn't really been focusing on keeping this landmark with his army, which just scares me even more. And now under attack from multiple angles right now, Kiljadi looks to try and hold on against one of the most powerful late game units in the game. Crossbow's going to get eaten alive. It's not even close. They're fighting up against... Oh, he's gone into Yuan Dynasty. So they're just even faster right now. The Yuan Dynasty Palace Guards, look at this 1.58 movement speed. They move faster than a cataphract. A Byzantine cataphract moves slower than a Palace Guard. That's what we're talking about right now. And Kiljadi under attack, multiple angles, Palace Guards coming in from everywhere. We're trying to spot them all out. You can see in the middle, down towards the south, group of 4 just coming through. Louis on 51 military population at the moment. Up against his opponent who's on 59. I'm looking for that big mass. There's that big mass, 29 crossbows. But Louis MT just really finding the one weakness of the Mongols, and that's no walls. And because there's no walls, there's no way you can defend against all these different angles of attack. And now moving in towards the south side, we've got outposts coming down. Towards the top side, there's outposts coming down. More raids coming through. I'm trying my best to find wherever these Palace Guards are. A little bit hard with this color matchup that we've got, but Palace Guards in the north should pretty easily get cleaned up here. But you can see even then, when they do eventually make a connection, there is just so much damage that comes out. They are fully upgraded. Bombard coming out, immediately going to get taken out towards that south side. Kiljadi is losing villagers, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The game is called. Kiljadi taken out by a slow and steady Death March of Palace Guards. An incredible unit, but an incredible play coming out from Louis MT. Go check him out. I won't leave links in the description because neither of these guys actually stream. There you guys go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.